Hello my people, FinerBub here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today, we are unboxing the GoPro Hero 9 Black Edition. Ooh. I sold my Hero 5 and my Hero 7 on eBay this past week, and with my Amazon credit card points and the profits that I made from those old GoPro sales, I bought the GoPro Hero 9 Black. This is the GoPro, nothing else in there. This is the Hero 9 Max lens mod, which I will make a separate video about. For now, we're just going to talk about this GoPro Hero 9 Black. Okay, so as you can see, it comes in interesting packaging, slightly different than the 7 and the 5 that I've used in the past. The other ones came in sort of like this plastic display case. This one seems to come with a carrying case, which is already a nice improvement. So this is the exterior packaging. It's just cardboard. There are all the buzzword specs that they advertise, but there's nothing really on the market that competes with GoPro. I mean, DJI has an action cam, and Insta360 is like starting to get into that. But yeah, I mean, it's like this stuff as compared to what, right? Anyway, so it can do 20 megapixels, 5K video, 30 frames per second, or 4K video at 60 frames per second, or 1080p at 240 frames per second. And for those of you who don't know, TV is usually played in 30 frames per second, and movies are usually played in 24 frames per second. And so if you're filming in a higher frame rate, that allows you to do slow motion, because you can slow it down without losing any frames, and it still looks smooth. Anyway, it's water resistant up to 10 meters or 33 feet. It's voice control activated. GoPro, take a photo. Can do 8x slow-mo, that's the 240 frames per second at 1080p. Has data overlays, not sure what that is, but get into that as I start using it. Time Warp 3.0, that's like a time-lapse feature, but it's also stabilized, so hyperlapse, if you will. You can live stream off this in 1080p. Does HDR photos, which stands for high dynamic range, which means it can get more detail in the highlights and the shadows of the image simultaneously. Normally a camera will choose to expose for either the brightest thing in the shot or the darker stuff, but like high dynamic range means it gets more on both ends of the spectrum. And it shoots raw photos, which just are a larger file format that allows you to edit, has more color data in it, so when you edit in post-production on your computer, you can extract more information that way. You can use it as a webcam, and it's got a touch screen, and it has Hyper Smooth 3.0, which is their video stabilization. So that's that. So let's put that aside. Let's open this. It's a nice case. It's a hard case. Ooh, okay. So this is what they give you. This is your charging cable, USB-C. We've got an adhesive mount. This is a curved adhesive mount. You can put it on your helmet. We've got the action cam mount that has this little rubber stopper in between the squeezies. So you lift that up, you stick it in there, clicks in, and then you can lock it in like that so it doesn't slide out. And then you glue this to your helmet or a stick, whatever you're using to film with. This is the battery. Ooh, it's big. Like, one of the reasons I bought the 7 in addition to the 5 was because they use the same batteries. GoPro, you know, every like 3 or 4 models, they update the battery and change the form factor. So, you know, my batteries from the Hero 3 don't fit in the Hero 5, but the batteries from the Hero 5, Hero 6, Hero 7, Hero 8, they all are the same size. Hero 9, however, they made the battery bigger. You know, obviously I haven't used this camera yet, but I'm really stoked about the fact that they made the battery bigger, because when you're skiing or doing anything in cold weather, GoPro batteries die super quickly. You know, there are many times where I will be fiddling, you know, trying to, you know, put in a new battery while I'm on a chairlift. I'll click record, and then like by the time I'm halfway down the run, the clip will just cut out because the battery died, because the camera was so cold. I like have so many ways to mitigate this. Like I've had jackets where I keep everything on the inside, all the batteries and stuff, to keep them warm. And this past season, I like even bought like a Zippo electric hand warmer from REI that I just left in one of the pockets of my backpack that I kept all the batteries in, and I just like left it on, like so that they would stay warm. But like, yeah, it would just kick out all the time. So I'm really stoked that they have a bigger battery. That should be a huge benefit. However, I have heard some negative things about this camera, so we'll talk about that in a bit. So far we've got action cam mount. We got the cable. Got the camera mount. Got the adhesive mount for, you know, the buckle. And we got the battery, and then we've got the thumb screw, which goes into here, but not yet. So, all right, let's just, you got your literature here. Subscribe to GoPro, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, download the app. I already have the app. You can use your phone as a remote control and as a, you know, a monitor. But if you do have the Wi-Fi feature enabled, which allows you to do that, it does eat up the battery way quicker. So, yeah, not always the easiest thing, but it's a good feature to have. Like if the camera's like on your head or whatever, and you want to like make sure that the angle's good, and you can't like take it off to see it, or like see it while you're adjusting it. So yeah. All right, now let's take a look at the camera. Ooh, wow, this is a hefty mother. Okay, so, ooh, this will be fun. See if I can. Oh, you're ready. Oh, that was not as smooth as I was expecting. Here, this one will be more satisfying. Ah, that felt good. Okay, so what do we see so far? Well, right off the bat, there are several things that I notice that are different about this compared to my camera, but or compared to Hero 7 and Hero 5 that I've been using for the last few years, and this. So first of all, it's way bigger. This is like, I mean, I already sold the other cameras, so I can't show you side by side, but like, this looks like at like 1.5 times the size, if not double. I mean, I assume that that's due to the bigger battery, which is fine if that's the reason. Like, great, you know, I don't care. Like, it's still a tiny camera. Not quite as tiny, but whatever, not a big deal. Okay, another thing. There's a front-facing screen on this camera right here. I never really had a problem framing up selfie shots. The GoPro lens is such a wide angle lens that, you know, you can hold it like pretty close to your face and you'll still like not miss. But yeah, that's a good feature to have, especially taking like group photo or whatever, you know. Very useful. Another thing is they moved the buttons around. Well, the record button is still in the same spot up top here. Did they move the buttons around? Or they moved the battery door? I don't know. It looks a little different. I can't quite place it right now. What's this? The switch? Okay, so here's the battery door. See if I can figure out how to open this. Here, you know what? I'm just going to look at the instructions. I don't want to break it my first time using it. Okay. So you got to push this like this. Wow, and it's in there. Real strong. What am I doing wrong? Okay. All right, I bet that latch just takes, a few times to sort of loosen up. Okay, so in here you got all your standard stuff. Obviously the battery housing is much bigger. And with GoPros I think you can do it on this one, yeah. You can just rip off the door and there's a USB Type-C port right there. You can see the port right there. So if you just want to like run this off of an external battery, like I've got this, where is it? Yeah, so if you like want to run this off an external battery, I've got this like 20,000 milliamp Anchor battery, that I use for charging up my batteries, like in my backpack while I'm hiking or skiing. But yeah, if you just want to set the camera up and talk to it, and you know that you're going to be, or like leaving it up for a time lapse overnight or something, yeah, you can just leave it plugged into power so that the battery lasts, but you just have to take off the door so that, makes it not waterproof anymore. So just don't do that and leave it out in the rain. Okay, so here, let's see if I got an SD card that we can throw in this guy. For those of you who've seen my camera gear video, this is my little Pelican SD card holder, waterproof. Okay, so we're gonna take this 256 Extreme Pro. You need micro SD cards for this. I've used like Samsung and a couple other ones in the past, but I've always had the best luck with SanDisk brand, and the best quality ones are the Extreme Pro. At least that's what I found. So let's just toss this guy in here. And I always get this backwards the first time. So one trick that you can do with GoPros is like oftentimes you have to take the battery out in order to click the SD card in. So you see, if you just push it, it clicks in, clicks out. But when the battery is in there, you can't get your finger in there. So a cool like trick I learned, forget where I learned it, but like you can just rip off the door and just use that. Oh, you know what? Where I learned this from? Seth's Bike Hacks. He mentioned it in one of his videos. Yeah, so you can just like use that as like a little pusher tool to get it out. But yeah, I usually just pull the battery. The only problem with pulling the battery is it resets the time, so that can be a pain if you're syncing up multiple cameras. Yeah, see, I'm already having trouble. So yeah, just gonna put that back like that, and then we can put this door back on here. Yeah, so you see there's like a little bar right there, just clips right in. Yep. Okay, close that and then click it shut. Cool. I don't know if it comes charged, so maybe I'll plug it in right now. Alright, so let's take this cable, GoPro branded USB cable, And I guess I gotta open that door. Oh man, GoPro is notorious for making these finger-busting latches. I mean, on my old one, it wasn't the battery door that was like that. It was like the camera housing, like the plastic cage that goes around the camera when you're mounting it on things. But yeah, oh, I didn't even mention that. For this camera, you don't need a protective housing that goes around it because the mount just flips right out of the bottom. And obviously this is worrisome just because if this breaks, you know, that's you need to get the camera fixed as opposed to just like a cheap piece of plastic that you can easily buy a new version of. But yeah, and I think they did this on the Hero 8 as well. But on the Hero 8, they also they made it so that the lens cap here was not removable. So if you scratch this on the 8, you are basically shit out of luck. You just got a scratch on your lens. But, you know, with all the other GoPros that I've had, including this one, this lens can twist off. Or it's not the lens, it's the lens cap. But it can twist off and you can put on a new one if it gets scratched. And then there's also the Max lens mod for the Hero 9 Black that I'll be showing in a different video. But yeah, I like that they brought back the interchangeable lens cap there, and yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. We'll see. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna plug this in to some power. Get some of those milliamps. Okay, so let's take all these stickers and we'll save them for later. Yeah, so, you know, the main reason I got this camera was because, you know, I want my channel to keep up with the times, you know. I'm always like getting the older GoPro, and you know, when I make videos about my cameras, they end up not being relevant to most people because, or not that they're not relevant, but the specific examples aren't quite so relevant because they're older models and, you know, people want to know about the newest one. And so, you know, it's sort of beneficial to me to sell my old GoPro every year. Well, I basically realized this year that there's no point in me like just trying to save money on these cameras anymore because you know, for me it's like a potential you know, growth opportunity for the channel to capitalize on the newer models of, you know, especially of tech products when they come out with new versions every year, like a tent, you know, they might not update it for 10 years. But, you know, a GoPro, they come out with a new model every year, and, you know, if I'm always buying the you know, second to newest model, or the most recently not newest model, or the most recently outdated model, then I'm not really, you know, like using a tool that I can like talk about to benefit people. So, you know, I think going forward, I am going to buy the new GoPro when it comes out, and I'll just sell my old one and, you know, just like take the loss, you know, for the sake of being able to make a better video. But I think that if you're on a budget and, you know, you're trying to get your first camera, or you're trying to upgrade from something like your phone or whatever, you know, you can get the Hero 7 or the Hero 8 and, you know, save some money, and, you know, you're getting basically the same thing. And yeah, anyway, that's my thought about that. So obviously, you know, use your judgment in accordance with your own needs. Yeah, anyway, okay, so this is charging. Do I need to charge it fully? Let's read the instructions. I don't know, I'm always worried if I'm gonna like just destroy the battery. Okay, a bunch of shit for dumb people who touch electrical plugs with wet hands. Okay, batteries need to be charged before use. Always use the correct charger. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna let this charge. But yeah, I mean, this is basically the extent of this video. I'm just telling you that this is the new version of the GoPro. It's slightly larger and heavier than the older models. So, you know, that's definitely a downside for, you know, when it comes to saving weight when you're hiking or backpacking. However, if this bigger battery does correlate with, you know, longer filming times, then, you know, I'm totally in support of that. I mean, this is still by far a much smaller camera than even, you know, my new main hiking camera, which is this Sony ZV-1. Point is that even compared to this tiny point and shoot camera, this is still way smaller, this GoPro. So, you know, the benefits of having a camera like this in your arsenal are, you know, virtually limitless. And I probably rely on the GoPro a little bit too much just because of how easy it is to use. I could definitely use, you know, something with better image quality, but, you know, who knows if I even would have gotten the shot if I had been relying on a different camera that, you know, maybe was not as more fragile, not as easy to just grab and start shooting with. So yeah, I think that this is like an invaluable part of my kit. You know, when it comes to like action stuff, you know, like, you know, POV shots or like skiing shots, you know, I mean, I mainly use the GoPro as kind of like a selfie camera when I'm hiking, just because it's small, it's waterproof, and it's wide angle, so I can see myself pretty easily. I actually just got an Insta360 One X2, and I used it skiing this winter, and yeah, that thing is just so sick. Like, it films all 360 degrees, like in every direction, and then you can just like pick what you want it to be looking at afterwards. So like you can just like basically turn it on and then not pay attention to it, and then when you get home you can just like choose what you want the camera to look at. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. And definitely like looking forward to like messing around with that more in the future. I sort of was like learning how to use it this winter. So if you go on my TikTok, I made a TikTok account. Yeah, there's some skiing clips with the Insta360 camera. So yeah, check those out. And follow me on TikTok. Not that I post very often, but trying to do it, you know, for the younger generation. Gotta give them their dose of FinerBub content. They're not here on the YouTubes. Anyway, yeah. So that was just a quick little unboxing. You know, it just sort of shows you what this camera comes with. I think like for the money, you're definitely getting more than you've gotten in the past. I mean, like in the past, the case, the box that it came in was just packaging. You know, that's all it was. But you know, this comes with like a zippered case that you can carry the camera in. I mean, you don't necessarily need this insert, but you know, you can just keep all your stuff in here. Like, that's great. I mean, I was saying the same thing in my goggle review of those Horvath goggles that I put out a few weeks ago. It's just like the fact that some really fancy goggle companies, you know, will make you pay $200 and not even include like a protective hard case, where compared to like the $50 models that, you know, do give you the hard case. It's just like, think about what the person needs, and like, you know, your customers will respect you so much more if you're not just like trying to nickel and dime them by like separating every purchase into like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, just provide value. Provide, you know, this is useful. I appreciate this. It's reusable. It's not just going to get thrown out, you know, like so many other things. I mean, like this camera. Like, I'll probably end up keeping this case for longer than I end up keeping this camera, which is freaking crazy, but that's the world we live in. Just everything's freaking disposable. Don't use plastic forks. Alrighty, my people, that concludes today's episode of the FinerBub Show. If you've already got a GoPro Hero 9 Black, or if you have tried out any of the other GoPros or any other cameras that I mentioned in this video, I'd love to have you comment below, especially if you think your insight can help me disprove something that I think I already know. But before you do, I just want to once again thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Obviously, stay tuned for more on this camera as I use it over the course of the next several months. You know, I'll do maybe an update video if I feel like there's something that I noticed. For example, I've seen a bunch of reviews that say that the touch screen is not very responsive on this camera compared to the old one. So, you know, we'll see if I have the same experience. I didn't want to like talk about any potential negatives before I have the chance to test it out for myself. But yeah, that's definitely something I've heard. So yeah, we'll see. I'll keep you posted on all that. Yeah, so if you're looking for new gear or planning your next trip, don't let small details stress you out, because remember, life's an adventure. So relax, breathe in the outdoors, and don't forget to appreciate the finer things in life. See you out there, people. Peace.